Hi, how you doing? I owe you an apology, really, as a regular viewer of my channel. This is a HEMA themed channel. I talk about bare knuckle boxing, I talk about traditional European wrestling systems, and I talk about swords and weaponry. But I realised earlier today that it's been an awfully long time since I've done a comparing a katana to something that isn't a katana video. So that's pretty much what we're going to do today. If you're in any way interested in setting up your own HEMA channel on YouTube, and I think there's still space for more people to do it, there aren't that many of us out there doing it, and HEMA's growing in popularity. One of the first things you'll have to do, obviously once you've got the channel registered, you've got it set up and you've got it all working and you've figured out how to make the videos, is get hold of a katana, because you can't actually do a HEMA channel unless you're willing to compare a katana to stuff that isn't a katana. This is quite a nice one. It's a traditionally hand-forged katana. It's made by a company, I don't even know if they're in business anymore. A long time ago, it was a small Chinese company that was set up and by a Chinese American, who used his contacts in China to have them made to his spec. And they're fantastic swords. It was called Chinese cutlery. I'll probably have a Google and see if they're still going, and if so, put a link in the description. And for a while they were growing in popularity. I was the UK importer, the UK agent for Chinese cutlery, and I did a few fairly spectacular destructive tests on some of their swords, and they came out very well indeed. And this is one that I've got left over. This is one of their top end ones, which is hand forged from quite a sturdy spring steel, 9260 I believe. So it doesn't have a traditional hammer because of the method of forging it and hardening and tempering it. But what that means is that it's significantly more resilient and spring-like than a katana would. So if you want something for cutting that's going to last forever, this is pretty much perfect. If you want something that's traditionally hardened as well as traditionally forged, then you're going to need a different sword. But for now, this will be our katana for the test. And what we're going to do is we're going to see how well it cuts, and we're going to compare it to this, which is a fairly generic European style longsword. Double-edged blade, diamond section, comes to a nice fine tip, straight cross guard, leather covered grip, and a scent stopper pommel. This is actually an old A-trim. I don't know if you've come across A-trim. I don't know if A-trim are still selling swords. Shows how much notice I've taken. I've had this a long time. It was actually a prize that I won back on Sword Forum, back in the days when Sword Forum was the place to be. And it's a fantastic cutting sword. It's made in a completely modern way. It's fabricated rather than forged, but the feel's about right, the weight's about right, the balance is about right, and it's roughly the right shape and size. Again, it's not an authentic sword, but it's great for cutting, and I've done a lot of cutting with that sword, and it's always performed very well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go out into the garden and I'm going to hang a plastic bottle full of water from a line, and I'm going to attempt with one cut to see if I can cut through the bottle, and I'll do that with each sword, and then we'll compare the two. So first we're going to start off with the katana. The longsword. So here we have the bottle that was cut with a katana. It's a pretty good cut, relatively straight, a little bit of tearing at the top. And here's the one with the longsword. Another pretty good cut, relatively straight, no tearing at all. It's close enough that it could just be my technique though, so who knows. So, swords now definitely compared. Both of them performed very well. You could argue perhaps that the European sword, the longsword, cut slightly better than the katana, but that could just be down to my technique. I make no apologies for my technique. It's not great. I'm not a longsworder, and I've never studied kenjutsu. So neither of these swords are what I do, but we can safely say that my technique was equally poor for both, so that shouldn't be a variable, really. I think the thing that we can say there is, firstly, well done. I've definitely compared a katana to something. And the only conclusion we can really draw from that is that katanas are good at cutting stuff and longswords are good at cutting stuff. So if you want to cut stuff, get a sword. That's about as far as I'm going to go advice-wise. Swords are awesome. Go and buy some. I might see if I can order another one while I'm thinking about it. Anyway, so there we go. There's my comparing a katana video. I'm probably going to do quite a few more. I'll compare a katana to different things and see how well it performs. So keep your eyes open, and I'll see you soon. Take care.